jikaze, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Africa, jikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. America, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan Okelo, live from Seattle, Washington, USA. Thank you so much for joining me for an amazing episode of the African Father in America podcast. My name is Simon Javan Okelo, and I am the host of the African Father in America podcast. Every Wednesday, I have the honor and the privilege of hosting an amazing friend, an amazing poet, an amazing writer and creator, Chioma Sheri, who is here with me this morning. How are you doing, Chioma?
I'm doing really good. I'm really just happy to be just alive and to be in this space. So I'm excited.
That's wonderful. Yeah, me too. Me too. Wednesdays, as you know, we were just talking a little before the session started. These Wednesday sessions are, it's hard to compare the daily African proverbs, the sessions that we have here. But I love poetry. I love spending time with you, and I just love how you intentionally always check on people. You are always. I was joking earlier that you are like the village keeper. So I just want to again thank you, thank you for being so amazing.
That's how I feel about you.
Anyway, for everyone who is just joining us on Clubhouse, thank you so much. This is the Daily African Proverbs, and my name is Simon Javan Okelo. I am in Seattle, Washington, and every day we gather here on YouTube, on Clubhouse, and really, everywhere. We are live everywhere. We can actually tap this energy and send it anywhere that we want. But it's 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time every, Monday to Friday. And we took a little break, between May 25th and June 1st because we organized Africa Day, and Chioma was one of the amazing, speakers and poets that participated. And I want us to talk a little bit about that in a moment. But, the structure of our show today, if you're joining us for the first time, is that we are going to, learn about today's proverb, which is from Malawi. And the proverb says that one muddy buffalo makes the whole herd dirty. One muddy buffalo makes the whole herd dirty. So think about that for a moment. I'm going to be inviting you all on stage. I would love for you to share the room, clip it on to Twitter, and let's keep building this village fire. And I want to just take a moment and ask you, Chioma, Africa Day. Just speak to it for a moment before we get into your thoughts about today's proverb. Thank you so much.
Okay, no problem. Well, I mean, for me, Africa Day, I think is just amazing that you're like you and your team are able to like pull off a 24-hour marathon, just highlighting so many topics that's just based on like what's going on in Africa. And I think what was most beautiful for me was just like how there was so many people across the globe. So people who were live on the African continent were able to join. People all throughout the diaspora was able to join, and I think there's something really beautiful in all of us being able to come together and hear from each other. So that's like one thing that I really loved. And then there were just so many like interesting conversations. So one, I love the poetry room. Just seeing the poets, I love poetry, so I think that was just so fun and so fun to like connect more with people like Simply E and 100%. Um, and I also really enjoy the conversation about reclaiming like our artifacts, like African artifacts, and also the conversation about data. So yeah, it was just really interesting. Like I feel like there was just so many like topics that like one could find like interest in. So yeah, for me it was just like really just beautiful to see us coming together and just having like really good discussions. Like it was live. It was live.
Yeah, I agree. I do want to say that I love the poetry session too during Africa Day. It was so incredible. And I was so biased in the chats. I was, poking people and saying how
I
the
know,
Kenyan poets were.
right? I'm like, yeah.
I was just trying to start a conversation. But all the poets were just incredible. I want something like that even weekly. I think we don't need to make such experiences just once a year. Yeah.
I agree. Oh, we'll talk time. Let's talk.
Well, Simply E is listening, and Simply is here with us on Wednesdays as well. I want to just invite you to introduce yourself quickly, Simply E, and let our audience members know how they can engage, but also speak about your own Africa Day experience, and then we will dive into our today's topic deeply right after that. Thank you so much.
Peace and grand rising, everybody. Thank you, Simon. This is Simply E, the poetess. I'm a spoken word artist and voice artist. And oh my goodness, I can't say enough about this past Africa Day. Um, just the little piece of part that I had to impart there as a poet and listening to the other poets' angles, I think was so beautiful and so well thought out. I love the fact that there is representation from the continent itself as well as the diaspora. The points of view give a broad view, um, different lifestyles, different walks in life, different cultures. I think it's just beautiful when you can have all these different points of view come together in one song, right? Universe, one song. Um, and it just was, it touched my heart as much as it did the first time. This was my second time participating, and actually my second year knowing about Africa Day. So um, I just felt just as special this year as I did last time. I love the fact that the spirit of the vibe is tribal. And so I think everybody walked away holding somebody's hand the other day. And I think that's just beautiful to be able to capture. And again, I'm biased, of course, as a poet. So I loved the different flavors that were brought in the poetry session. And then also listening in on some other spaces as well, on some action items and some things we can do as a whole in holding hands to move forward as people. So thank you again for the opportunity, Simon, and thanks for the opportunity to hear more and just to be better. Um, Thank you for that. If you are listening in today, an African father in America, and you have missed in the past and you're like, oh man, this is so good, I missed out or whatnot, don't forget that if you're listening in on YouTube, to join there. And then on one of these days during the week, Monday through Friday, if you want to see it from a different lens, come in on Clubhouse. And on Instagram, you can see the post early so that you'll know what's coming as well. And don't forget to have your friends come over because I find that to be very rewarding when you can bring a friend into a space that you really enjoy and you two have something to discuss later, especially if they've got input, then you're building community. And I think that's what this is all about. And so thank you, thank you, thank you again for joining us today. We hope to see and hear from you soon again. And Simon, back to you. I'm just smiling all over the place this morning.
Thank you. I just love that. I appreciate you so much, Simply E. For the love that you're putting into this space today, and also the support you've been giving me over the years, actually, since we connected. Now I want to come back to my guest, Chioma Sherry, who is live and direct with me on YouTube, and our proverb today. Remember, every day we gather here with a new African proverb from a different part of Africa. We work so hard to ensure that, we research these proverbs, and we always want to have people from the specific countries where these proverbs come from on the days that we are discussing them, but that's not always possible. But we have confidence in the work that we do, and I have so much love and respect for, Stella and also Lavender and some other members of the One Vibe team that I work with to produce the Daily African Proverbs. And if you've missed any previous episodes, we publish these episodes right after these conversations across all podcasting platforms and on YouTube. So thanks again for the support. Remember to tap in. If you want to get to YouTube, the link is at the top of the room. We are live there now, and you should subscribe so that you don't miss these conversations going forward. Chioma, what are your thoughts when you hear this proverb from Malawi that says, one muddy buffalo makes the whole herd dirty?
So it was when I first started, I was like, okay, this is simple, makes sense. And I was like, it sounds like something that I've heard before. And I was like, what saying did I hear before that was like this? And it's the saying, one bad apple spoils the whole bunch. And so, of course, you know me, I went to do some like research. So I was like researching about buffalo. Then I started researching about like the one bad apple spoils the whole bunch. And so it's interesting because like I like research like, buffalo and sort of like mud and try to see what I could find. And I know for like one, actually like mud, even though it's like dirty, mud is actually kind of like helpful for buffaloes because it helps like in like removing like parasites and stuff. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. And then I did like research on like the one bad apple spoils the whole bunch. And I was like, is that like, I know like in theory, like that is truth. Like I believe that. But I was like, is that really, really real? And so it actually is true. It's like, so one, if you have like one bad apple, like in a bunch, it releases a chemical that like will increase like the heat and then like gradually will start affecting the other apples. And I was like, that is just like so true. Like if you just have like one bad thing and you like allow it to like be there and like persist, like it'll slowly start to like seep into like the others. And so like when I read this proverb, I also like started thinking of like how that can like affect us like mentally. And I started thinking of like even if we say something negative, like how like one negative thought can like really like wipe out so many truths, that are really good. So that's kind of like where my mind went. You'll hear some more of like my thoughts in like the poem and then in my later shares. But yeah, that's kind of like where I went for that.
Thank you. I love that. I love how you usually research these proverbs and also some of the key elements of each of the proverbs. I love that a lot. I want to come back to our audience members just briefly, but I loved how how you looked at this proverb, and I want to hear a lot of other perspectives, but I want to hear the poem before we go far, because this is the privilege of early comers, the early bird catches the worm. So those who joined us earlier are going to enjoy this poem. Maybe we will have it at the end, maybe not, So if you're here early, you're lucky. So, I just want to say that take a moment, ping in 3 to 5 people, whether they are on Clubhouse or whether they are on other social media platforms. If you enjoy watching YouTube, join us on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, and push the notification button on YouTube, especially because we are working hard to grow our presence there as well. And we will be posting Africa Day content there. Over the next weeks, actually. We recorded 24 hours worth of content during Africa Day. So editing it has been a challenge. If you're a good video editor, let me know. Anyway, my guest, Chioma Sheri is a very, very gifted poet. Chioma, what's your Instagram handle before we go far?
Chioma.Sheri, so that's CHIOMA.SHERI.
So if you're listening, go to that Instagram handle, check out the poems that Chioma posts there every day. You'll be so uplifted. I love sharing those poems to my Instagram stories, So I encourage you to do that too. Let's support Chioma. Let's follow her Instagram and just help build what she's doing with her poetry,
I appreciate you, Simon. Thank
Of course, of course.
You like my hype man.
I have to, I have to. We have in the village, we have to intentionally help each other, Yeah. Let's go to this, your interpretation of this proverb, but by way of the poem that you wrote for it,
Okay, all right. I'm like, I thank God for this poem because when I tell you this poem came like literally like within 30 minutes, I was like, whoo! I said the session is about to start. I ain't got nothing, but I got this, and I'm really grateful for it. So I'm excited to share. Simon.
Yeah, I
All right.
want you to share
Okay,
now.
you're here. All right. I was like,
The floor is yours. I'm figuring out how to use this live streaming app to be so that our live stream is more presentable. So go
so
ahead.
y'all who are on Clubhouse and not on like YouTube, Simon usually still has his face, and then like he kind of like disappeared, so I got a little nervous. I was like, "Where did Simon go?" But he's here, y'all.
So
All
right
right.
now I'm your producer for your poetry performance to the entire world. So ladies and gentlemen, representing Chioma Sheri.
All right. All right, y'all. I spoke a lie yesterday based on what I interpreted from your actions. I spoke a lie yesterday and it almost murdered all my truths. The truth that I am worthy, the truth that I am loved, the truth that I am gifted, the truth that I am wanted. I spoke a lie yesterday, just one. One lie can shatter 1,000 truths, just like one bad apple can spoil the whole bunch, just like one muddy buffalo can make the whole herd dirty. I spoke a lie yesterday and it almost killed me. Till I spoke one truth, till I spoke two truths, till I spoke three truths. Three truths and a lie, 'cause a lie is weighty and it takes just one. Be careful of what you let in. Be mindful of what comes barging in. Be ready to combat, to come back. Thank you.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you so much, Chioma, again for your amazing presentation. I just want to ask Simply E to make a quick comment and also reset the Clubhouse room for us.
Yeah, I'm so impressed by the level of research that you did on this, and it shows up. It definitely shows up. Thank you for the advice and the voice and um, how planted and rooted you were in that. Because in the world of microwaves and the internet, everything is always fast. And so the fact that you did your research, gives us something to hold on to. And the fact and that's why what you just did was so substantial, because you could tell that it was very rooted. And I give thanks for that. I give
Thank
thanks
you.
for that.
Thank you, Simply.
Yes, if you're in this space, the African Father in America, be grateful because I know I am. You want to be sure to join the club if you are on Clubhouse. If you're listening from the YouTube side, you want to definitely follow along and subscribe so that, every now and again in your feed, you can have something to pop up that you really enjoy instead of having to go after it every time. Um, I give thanks for this space. I'm very grateful in here. And thank you for your interpretation, Chioma. Simon, back to you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Simply E. I totally appreciate you for, your support. Chioma, I want us to continue a little bit here. I'm going to be opening the floor, in a couple of minutes. Whenever we have a guest, we normally, have an entire interview session with the guest, and then we open the floor for our audience members to chime in. You can comment on the conversation that just happened. You can ask questions. You can also just share your interpretation. And, Chioma then reflects on everything she hears. And then at the end of the room, she, shares her perspectives. And also, remember, I want Chioma, later on Chioma, towards the end of our conversation, I also just want you to remember to share how we can all support you beyond your Instagram, Now, share with us, when you think about this proverb, the proverb we are discussing today, does it remind you of any childhood stories that you'd like to share with us today? Again, the proverb, for those who might have just joined us, it says, one muddy buffalo makes the whole herd dirty.
So actually, at first I thought, no, I can't think of anything. And I was like, oh, I got something. So this actually does remind me of something. So I used to do African martial arts when I was younger. And one of the sayings that was always said is, one fall, we all fall. So if one person is not on it, if one person messes up, we all messed up. And like we also felt that. Like if one person like made a mistake, like everybody, like all of us had to had to like, do something. We were all kind of like penalized in some ways. And I know if you grow up, I feel like if you grow up in a Black home, you're pretty familiar with that. Like if one person did something, y'all all go and get it. And that's kind of like what I feel also in terms of like this proverb is kind of like the flip side in some ways. So it's like one fall, we all fall, in a sense that like if one person isn't doing well, like we need to all take that into consideration, like because like we're also going to be affected by it. But also like it takes the collective to like reheal something. So like even going back to my poem where I was talking about like 3 truths and a lie, like you'll need like a community. Like you'll need so much more to like combat that sort of like one sort of like bad thing or whatever. So this really just made me think of like back in my martial arts class, like literally if one fall, we all fall. So yeah, that's kind of like what came up in my mind, and just this like idea of like, like the need for like the collective. So like individual work, but also like collective work. So
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, martial arts, if you do, martial arts is like a mindful sports,
it is.
Yeah, because when you lose focus is when you get hit. When these are not martial arts facts, actually. The things I'm saying, these are
Last time I just had to do a disclaimer.
Yeah, I'm not a kung fu master, so I have to say that early. But I was a boxer, so the instincts of such sports are similar, So that's why I'm saying, when you're not balanced, when you're not grounded, it's a problem, But I want to just invite you again, Chioma, to share with us, currently when we look around the world, here in the US especially, there are so many cases of, gun violence, and elsewhere in the world currently, there's so much going on, even with the Ukraine situation, so much, blood flowing, let me just say the way it is. And I wanted you to just share your perspectives about it, for those who are not in the US. When I used to live in Kenya, the news from the US came a week later, so then we would respond. These days, the internet helps, actually. You can hear things maybe the next day or the same day, but I wanted you to just speak on it, and then we'll hear some perspectives from the room. The reason is, part of my own perspectives when I heard this proverb is that, there's always that one child or one individual or one youth that, do these things. and then it's always said they're like this buffalo, they're like this buffalo,
Yeah.
and once one person does a mass shooting, then now people starts getting profiled, and even people who have similar symptoms, but they're getting help, and people are getting profiled, but also people are getting called out, and people don't like getting called out. Society is being asked to be more accountable, and leaders don't like that. Anyway, I want to hear from you.
Well, it's crazy because like I'm like, wow. I feel like the proverb is actually quite in alignment too. To like why you asked this question, because to me, I think the crazy thing about it is like we think these are just like one time incidents, and like we thought it was when it first happened, right? And it's just like, and that's kind of like the attitude that it's been and that it kind of still is. And it's like, but this thing, like now it's so like pervasive and it's like everywhere now. Like, I mean, it was in Buffalo, you had Texas, then you also had a shooting in Philadelphia, and it's just like crazy. But it's not even just like, it's crazy because the recent thing in Philly that happened, it was like labeled like a mass shooting, and then we were like kind of confused because we were like, is this like a mass shooting, or is this just like the everyday like violence, gun violence that happens in the city? And so it's like gun violence is like, it's everywhere, whether it ends up being like a mass shooting or just like, a one-off thing or whatever that's happening a lot. I think it's just like, I think it's crazy. I'm like, we've kind of, I don't know what we can do, but it's like, it's really crazy because there's not like laws really being made to like do anything. They're kind of just like, well, there's nothing we can do, or they're just like, oh, this happened, so sad, and then we just kind of continue on with life, and then we really don't do anything about it. So like to me, it's like, we need like laws, but then we also need like support systems. Like we need people, like we need like health. We need like mental health things. We need people to like teach their kids not to be racist. We need people just like doing the work. So for me, like when I see it, like I just get sad, but like I get frustrated, I get scared, to be completely honest. Like sometimes like I don't even be wanting to go places where there's like a big crowds, and then like sometimes you don't even want to go out your house sometimes, you know what I mean, because you just don't know what's going to happen. But like you said, like this thing is not like just a thing of the US. Like it's happening a lot, and I think we do need to pay attention and we need to call ourselves on it. But like it's going on across like the world. Like recently in Nigeria, there was like a mass killing at a church, and it's like, this is just, it's crazy. So yeah, when I think of it, I'm just like, again, and it's just like, what are we going to, do? So that's kind of like really all my thoughts about it. Is just that it's like very like scary, frustrating, disheartening, sad, because people are legit dying. um but yeah, it's kind of like, what are we gonna do? Are we actually gonna do something about it? So yeah, that's my thoughts, Simon.
Yes, I appreciate your perspectives on it. And yesterday I was listening to a Twitter Spaces conversation where Times magazine, one of the journalists was interviewing a number of doctors who have been doing research on this topic, especially research on the patterns that the perpetrators of violence, similar to the ones that have recently perpetrated violence here in the US, like some of their behaviors long before they do these things. And these are things that this is information that is always accessible to the government and even the healthcare providers, but sometimes it just takes them too long to act on it. And sometimes this reminds me of the African way of disciplining children, where if a child was going too far, they would be spanked. there was caning. I'm not advocating for violence against children, but I'm just saying that I have to share that disclaimer, but I'm just saying there are ways that you can also, implement discipline without being violent, but applying, even African wisdom, deepening your conversations with your teenagers. But listen, if you think about it, majority of the people who are causing this violence are young, and during this Times magazine interview on Twitter Spaces yesterday, actually, one of the doctors was saying that research, I think the doctor was from Harvard or something like that. I can't remember clearly, but I can find you the link to that Twitter Spaces if you'd like. The doctor was saying that the amount of gun sales over the last year has gone up significantly compared to a year ago or even 3 years ago. And the trend that is worrying is that the typical age bracket of people who buy guns in the US have been retired white men or older white men. But the trend now is that it's young people, and it's also not just white people, it's everyone, BIPOC people, black people are arming themselves, and that's what's scary for me, because you don't know like you could have a small disagreement and someone just draws a gun, or you could be driving somewhere and a police, because there is fear now that this whole thing is causing. And I think that is where healing comes in, where this amount of fear has been inflicted on people. Anyway, I just wanted to share that. Do you have any comments on it, or should we go to our friends who are here with us listening patiently on Clubhouse?
I think you said a lot, and I think fear is just a really big thing, because even as you talked about sort of like the increase in like gun sales, like I'm also thinking like fear. Like I know some people who, because of fear, they're like, you know what, I'm gonna get a gun, so it has me thinking of stuff like that. So yeah, that's all.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so now it takes courage to not own a gun in these times. So now we want to go to our audience members. Thank you so much. If you're with us on YouTube, we truly appreciate it. If you are with us on Clubhouse, we appreciate it too. We are having an amazing conversation. We started with, listening to Chioma's perspective on this proverb, a childhood story that this proverb reminds her about. And then we went into, her thoughts about the current, environment where violence is being perpetrated everywhere, especially in the US. And then now we want to hear from you. We want to hear from you, simply just your own interpretation of this proverb. And then we'll go to Debbie and Kay and Stella and anybody else who wants to join us on stage. This is a great time. But also to everyone who is listening, please share the room on other platforms. Take a minute, ping in a few people to join us, maybe 3 to 5. If you are on YouTube, thank you so much. Please make sure you subscribe and tap the notification bell. Chioma, thank you again. Take some notes as we hear from our friends here. Let's start with the, incredible Simply E.
I give thanks. One muddy buffalo makes the whole herd dirty. And I think that there's a call to accountability for each other in that. And a lot of times, especially now, if we're busy, right, we're just busy thinking about what we do, what we can do, what we should have did, what we're about to do, and what makes us feel better, or what kind of impression we can make on the world. But when you start thinking about being accountable for someone else, that is a different job. And so when you think about something like this, of one sort of thing being what represents the bulk of us, I think it's very important to make sure that we bring each other along. So I like the call to action within this proverb to be accountable for one another.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Be accountable for one another. I love that. Chioma is a very good example of, someone who can keep you accountable. So thank you, Chioma, for, always nagging me. Simon, have you sent me the proverb? I appreciate that. Anyway, we'll continue on. Debbie, how are you doing today? Where are you joining us from? And what does this proverb from Malawi mean to you? I'll just repeat it one more time here. I do have 7 lessons that we prepared, for you all, that you can learn from this proverb, by the way. So at the end, if we have time, I'm going to share with you the 7 lessons that you can learn from this proverb. So stay tuned. Hey, Debbie.
Hi, Simon. Greetings to all on the call. Thank you, as always, for this wonderful platform. My name is Debbie Berlin. I live in Maryland, near Washington, D.C., US of A. And this proverb, to me, I want to take a different spin. I want to flip it and reverse it. So, you know what? I think dirt is good. I think dirt and the earth helps us to be grounded. Let's embrace dirt. Let's embrace our earth. Let's embrace our roots. Feel our foundation, put our feet, take off our shoes and walk through the sand or the dirt or the mud with our feet on the ground, fill up our root chakra. And the power of influence. One person can influence a crowd. You're free. You give permission to other people to be free just by your own freedom. This example reminds me of a time where I might lay on a grass field. And next thing I look around 20 minutes later, everybody's there, their feet off. And it's like everybody's out enjoying the sun or splashing in a fountain. Same thing. So you know what? Let's embrace that dirt. That muddy buffalo is helping us embrace the beautiful nature. In addition, since today's theme has had so much poetry, I would like to share some poetry as well that I wrote. I wrote this for Afropolitan DC networking event. This is the group I was sharing with you about before, Simon. And they had a networking activity that said, chat with 3 or 4 people and make up a fun little pretend tourism. Like you're gonna go Africa, you're gonna go somewhere in the Caribbean and US, just to cover the whole diaspora. So this is what I came up with because I love to make lyrics. Here we go. We're going on a trip. Here we go. Africa, Jamaica, US, now you know. Music in Accra at Afrochella. Beautiful ladies, good looking fellas. Now in Cameroon at the Bamoun Museum. Lots of artifacts, you just gotta see them. At the Barclays Center, cheering the New York Mets. Best game ever, yeah, you bet. Jamaica, me just have to take your rice and peas. That's what me I make you. We're going on a trip. Here we go. Africa, Jamaica, US. Now you know.
Wow. Chioma, you have to say something about this. This is so beautiful.
I just love your energy. Like like you just brought me so much smiles, and I love the Jamaican accent. Your accent is beautiful. But yeah, just thank you just for coming in with your energy. Like it just did so much for me. And I just also love how you literally like went full accent in your poem. I had so much appreciation for that. I thought that was beautiful. And I just also love how you flip the proverb, but I'm gonna share that at the end. But thank you so much, Debbie.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you.
you.
Thank you, Debbie. Yeah, I love that. You're definitely multi-talented, You pulled a beautiful surprise today, and every day the way that you show up is really powerful, and I truly appreciate that. Hey, Kay, how are you doing today? Where are you joining us from? And what does this proverb mean to you?
Hi, everyone. My name is Kay. I'm joining you from the East Coast, Vermont. Um, and this proverb, the first thing I thought of was the same as Gioma, one bad apple, as a warning, and then contradictory, if I am a buffalo, the mud keeps the bugs off and keeps my skin moist. So it's also a recommendation to follow the smart leader. Um, and the other thing I started thinking about when Chioma talked about one fall we all fall, I was thinking that's similar to united we stand, divided we fall, divided we stand, united we fall, or if one lemming jumps off a cliff, the rest follow. And I think it's also a warning about the bad actors that could damage a team. And I think it's also a warning about trust, so that if you're in a team, tribe, or process, and there's one person or process that's not trusted, that this mistrust can actually spread virally throughout the entire group. So I think it's also an encouragement to really look at your group dynamic and encourage trust, because things will move much easier when everyone trusts within the group. And that's what I got from it. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much, Kay, for your contribution as well. I love how you referenced Chioma's if one fall, we all fall. I feel that I treat my daughters like that sometimes, and sometimes they hate it. They don't like it at all. Anyway.
You're not gonna like it.
But then
of it later.
yeah, especially when maybe there was an agreement that, look, there is ice cream tonight, after dinner there is ice cream tonight, but the situation is you have to finish your dinner, and then the condition is everybody have to finish their dinner. So if you finish first, help the other person. If the other person can't finish, help the other person until everybody finishes. Then you get the ice cream. And they don't like that. They always say, whether I finish dinner or not, there is ice cream. Anyway, Stella, how are you doing? It's always wonderful to have you here, and thank you again for all the hard work that you're putting into making the Daily African Proverbs possible. Share with us your thoughts about today's proverb, where you're joining us, and also if you have any comments in regards to the conversation Chioma and I are having.
Thank you, Simon. I'm happy to be here too, and I hope everyone is okay. This is Stella from Kenya, and today's proverb is really special because there's another one in Luo that has the exact same meaning as this one, and it says "Kuniachiel ematoringo." I don't know if you heard it, Simon.
Yes.
But it has the,
I love that
yes,
proverb.
yes, it has the exact same meaning as this one, and growing up we would be told of it so many times, especially in school. You would be told not to hang around with someone who was perceived to be having bad manners so that you don't get the influence. But I would love to relate it also to mental health, just like most of the speakers have talked about today. There's a condition in mental health that's called bipolar disorder, and bipolar has two aspects. There's that one where someone is, at some point they're so sad, and at some point they're so happy. So that's why it's called bipolar. So you find that the ones, most of the time when they're so happy, they have this mood that is called infectious mood. They're so happy that they smile at you and you end up smiling. And at some point I got to work with them, and it's sad that they're sick, but again you also find that their mood, like, infects you. It affects you in a way that you just end up smiling, you end up laughing with them even though you don't know what you're laughing at. But anyway, that's how life sometimes takes you in that direction. So yeah, that's what I'm learning from this proverb, and thank you everyone.
Of course, Stella. Thank you again for your beautiful perspectives, and for sharing with us your healthcare expertise too. For those who don't know, Stella is also in the a clinical officer in the Kenyan healthcare system, and I just love how you are able to bring that to this space today. Thank you for all you do, to keep people healthy in Kenya, and to also keep One Vibe healthy. Now, Lavender, how are you doing, and where are you joining us from, and what does this proverb mean to you? And also, do you have any comment in regards to the ongoing conversation? And for those who are meeting Lavender for the first time, she's also part of the One Vibe team. She's one of the people that are keeping this boat sailing.
Hello, hi Simon, hi everyone. Simon, thank you for the opportunity to share my thoughts. Stella, I know about the proverb, and my mom really liked saying that. Kudni, please repeat it, Stella.
Yes, Lavender. It says, "Kudni achiel emato oringo."
Yes. Thank you so much. Again, I'm
Hey, Lavender.
Lavender. I'm speaking from
Lavender,
Nairobi.
this is Simon.
Yes, Simon.
Could you actually explain it in English for the sake of those who don't understand Kuniachiel, Ematoringo? I know it, but I think if you just explain it, it would really help too.
Kudniachiel ematoringo basically means one bad batch of meat can spoil the whole meat. Is it, Simon?
Yeah,
Does it make sense?
yeah, one little worm, because a worm is Kudni is a worm,
Yeah,
So
kudni is a worm.
yeah, so one worm can make the whole piece of meat go bad,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it means. Yeah, but carry on, Lavender. Thank you again so much.
Thank you for clarifying that. So back on today's topic, one muddy buffalo makes the whole heart dirty. For me, this resonates with a working environment or even friendships. When you associate with bad company, you're bound to borrow most of these habits, if not all of these habits. So, and in a work environment, it takes teamwork to achieve goals. And when one person is lacking, you delay on getting what you want or achieving your goals. And that's it for now. I'm Lavender, and I'm complete.
Thank you so much, Lavender, for your perspectives as well. I love it. Brother, how are you doing today? Where are you joining us from, and what are your perspectives on today's proverb? Feel free to also share any comments in regards to the ongoing conversation.
Peace and love, families. Brother Irv. I'm calling from the North Carolina territory, and honest to you and all the family who came forth sharing their knowledge, wisdom and knowledge, especially the beautiful poetry. I got my poetry fix in today, and I really appreciate it. And what I have to say to the poem, well, not the poem, but the proverb is right in line with what a lot of the family said before me. And one of the sayings that the old people used to say is, birds of a feather flock together. And right along in that same vein, um, actually it's a law in Georgia where they say the hand of one is the hand of all. And I got a brother who's actually, doing life plus 20 years in prison. He was in the streets. Anyway, he let somebody use one of his cars. they saw his car leaving the scene of the crime, and he, so-called being real, he didn't snitch or didn't tell who did it, and he ended up catching the time for the body. With that being said, a lot of times, when I'm speaking to my little cousins or, just the youth coming up, I tell them, you not only have to be mindful of what you're doing, but you also have to be mindful of who you hanging with, because all it takes is for you to get in the car with the wrong person, and it can ruin your life, or it can change your life for the worse forever. So, what I mean? It's just be mindful of not only what you doing, but who you hanging around and what they doing, because it does affect you as well. And I come in love and I leave in peace.
Thank you. Thank you so much, brother. I love that. Be mindful of who you are spending time with beyond what you are doing yourself. That's amazing, amazing nugget of wisdom right there. Thank you so much. If you're just joining us, my name is Simon Okelo. I'm the host of the African Father in America podcast, and we are live and direct on Clubhouse. We are also live and direct on YouTube. My guest is Chioma Sheri. She's going to share her reflections about some of the comments that you've shared with us in just a moment. And also Chioma will share with us how you can all support the incredible work that she's doing. So Kay, how are you? Where are you joining us from? And what does today's proverb mean to you?
Hi, Simon. Hello, everybody. I'm in Atlanta right now, Atlanta, Georgia, in U.S. I wanted to thank Chioma for the poem, and I hope we get to hear it again. But then I can go back on YouTube and listen to it again. But because I'm still thinking about it. And I appreciated Stella mentioning about the mental health, and I think it gives voice to how we are energy. When she said the happiness, and you're laughing too, but the person who is, you don't know why they're laughing, but there's an energy that you that we have, and people around her were able, or him were able to capture that energy. So when I saw the poem, I mean the proverb, I'm thinking and thinking, because I have what used to be called multiple personalities, and now they call it dissociative identity disorder. And so when I look at things, I have to first look at what is the intention of the person who wrote it, and then I have to decide: am I in the herd, or am I looking at the herd? And my response would be different based on that. And then it made me think, when you talked about the African way of, with the children, and I remembered my father. There, he used to keep pennies in a tobacco can, and one day he called us all together, my 7 brothers and sisters, and then one cousin who was raised with the family, and asked who did it, who stole the pennies. And he let us know that we're all responsible for who took the pennies if nobody fesses up that they took the pennies. And so I thought about that, and I thought that's kind of the communalism that is from the motherland. It's all of us. And at the same time, the truth is only one of us, well, maybe more than one, but if I'm the person who didn't take it, you are telling me that I'm responsible. And that is a learned thing. And I think it's a learned thing from the motherland, and one that I embraced. So of course I stole the pennies. Um, and so I confess, because I didn't want everybody else to be soiled with my activity. And so, what my father did, which I think is important when we look at these proverbs or these teachings, is what you do. What is the result of the proverb? What is the result of what your words are? And so, what my father did is he put me in charge of the pennies. He put me in charge of the pennies, so I could no longer be the thief in my mind, because I'm in charge of this. And so I thought that was a very good response, and a very different response in terms of what we see in society when somebody is off track. Um, so those are my thoughts on it. Thank you.
That's so incredible. That's so incredible. Uh, because now I will apply that in my life, and I feel like I need to meet your father, but I just feel like I met him because of this lesson that he left you with, and this experience, and how he taught you leadership, and he gave you an opportunity to hold yourself accountable, because now you can't steal what you own. Set a thief to catch a thief, right? That was amazing. Thank you so much, Kay. It's always wonderful to have you. Chioma, what are your thoughts on Kay's share and everyone's share, and also your closing remarks? If you love, you can share the poem again if there's time.
Okay. Oh my goodness, there was like so many. Kay, I just felt like that was such a beautiful one to close on, just thinking about like I guess like the results of the proverb. So like what do you do next? And I'm like, wow, your father's choice of putting you in charge of the pennies is just brilliant. It's something that we don't see in society often, but it's so brilliant. I even think of it like in I taught for like a second, like a very hot second. But like that's something I've seen in teaching, where you have that like troublesome child or whatever, and then you give them like leadership, and then it kind of like shifts them a bit. So I just thought that was so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Just some takeaways. So just this idea that like it's a call, that this proverb is a call for accountability of each other. So Simply E mentioned that. I like that Debbie brought this other perspective, that like dirt allows us to be grounded. It kind of just like made me think of like, when you have that sort of like bad apple or that bad thing, it kind of like makes you like reflect, like, it makes you like reflect, like what's going on, that sort of like this bad thing is here, like what's going on. So it makes you like reflect, and I feel like it kind of like brings us sort of like back to like the collective, or it should bring us back to that. Lavender said, when you associate with bad company, you're bound to borrow some of those habits. And brother said, you not only have to be mindful of what you're doing, but you need to be mindful of who you're hanging with and what they're doing. So for me, like I think the biggest takeaway for me personally was this idea of like the collective, that like this one thing happening is not just like that person or that thing. It's like it's our problem as well. So like taking accountability for ourselves, but also taking accountability for each other was like really one of the biggest things I took away from this. And then Kay's last word, like, okay, so what now is the result of this? Like, what are we going to do? So those are my takeaways. Those are the things that kind of like resonated with me. So I thank all of y'all for that. And I can share the poem if you would like me to, Simon.
Could you just share how we can all support you before you share the poem?
Okay. Simon, never forget that. As always, y'all can follow me on IG. Y'all can follow me here on Clubhouse. Y'all can feel free to like reach out to me if you have anything to share with me, please share. I feel like sharing is also supporting. So whether that's sharing resources or just sharing things that you think might be like really good for me, like to look into, I think that's all a part of supporting the Daily African Proverb, coming in on the Wednesday session, sharing it with your friends and family. Yeah, those are the ways that I feel you can support me right now. So thank you, Simon. Now close off with the poem. All right. I spoke a lie yesterday based on what I interpreted from your actions. I spoke a lie yesterday and it almost murdered all my truths. The truth that I am worthy, the truth that I am loved, the truth that I am gifted, the truth that I am wanted. I spoke a lie yesterday, just one. One lie can shatter 1,000 truths, just like one bad apple can spoil the whole bunch, just like one muddy buffalo can make the whole herd dirty. I spoke a lie yesterday and it almost killed me, till I spoke one truth, till I spoke two truths, till I spoke three truths. Three truths and a lie, because a lie is weighty and it takes just one. Be careful of what you let in. Be mindful of what comes barging in. Be ready to combat, to come back. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Chioma, for everything, for making the time for today's conversation, for the beautiful poem, and, for your incredible contribution today. And to our amazing audience members, we've come to the tail end of our conversation today. I promised to share with you 7 life lessons we can learn from this African proverb especially, but we are going to add them in the description of this video. Actually, I'll add them in the chat. I'll add them in the chat on YouTube, and I'll also add them in the first comment on Instagram that have this proverb, so you can catch it there, leave your perspectives on it on both platforms. And just know that I deeply appreciate you. Subscribe to the channel, make sure you follow the club on Clubhouse, and nominate a few people to also join the club. Thank you. And tomorrow I'm hoping that we can have Gogo Rutendo Ngara as our guest here, so take good care of yourselves. Chioma, asante sana. Do you know what that means?
Oh, I should, because we would say that in my martial arts class.
It means thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you again. You have a beautiful day, okay? Thank you. African father in America.
Hi, man.
Yes, Lavender. I hear you. Hi, how are you? Go ahead.
I also wanted to invite everyone in the room for our Travel in Africa session today at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time and 9 p.m. East African Time.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm sorry I forgot about you, but I love how you do what you need to do for your space. Joseph, that one was very impressive. Did Joseph send you a message so that you ensure you mention it or what? Anyway, good work.
I had it in mind, and he was also like, make sure you talk about it.
Yeah,
and
anyway.
Our topic today will be responsible tourism in Africa.
Yeah, don't miss it. 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and that's 9 p.m. Kenya time today, in a couple of hours. I can't wait for that session myself. Thank you, Lavender, and thank you again, Chioma. Peace. African father in America. Tujikaze, jikaze. Africa, tujikaze, America.
You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan Okelo, live from Seattle, Washington.